When you're starting to feel a bunch of tension rising and this is turning into a difficult conversation, this is a great acronym that I like to think about that allows me to move through it and get to a place where tension is eased, get to a place where we're able to find trust again. The framework is called RETHINK. I'll go through them in more detail, but I wanted to quickly go through them with you first, just so you have a sense of what they are. First is to reflect, recognize your emotions, empathize, talk with curiosity. H is for hear or actively listen. I is to identify those common needs and common ground. N is to negotiate, find a way forward. And K is to keep moving or find next steps or figure out what we do next. Let's dive into more detail on each of those. Again, this is a great way to make sure that you're moving through this in a way that's going to get you to a better conclusion if tensions start to rise. So R, reflect. This is where you go internal first. Pause and address the emotions that are happening inside of you. Name the emotions that are happening inside of you to make sure you understand why you're getting flustered or heated. Two questions that I like to ask myself are, why is this difficult? And what am I feeling right now? Take a breath and figure that out. An example of this might be a customer is yelling at you, they're upset because this due date has not been met and they are very angry. Take a moment, take a breath, reflect why this is uncomfortable, what you're feeling right now, and remind yourself to stay neutral. Recognize that their frustration isn't personal to you, it's just about the situation. E is for empathize. Try to empathize with this person in front of you. Try to understand how they might be feeling, what might be triggering for them in this moment. Make an effort to understand their perspective and what they might be experiencing right now. Because just because I experience things in a certain way doesn't mean that you experience them in the same way. Ask yourself, what might they be going through right now? Why are they upset? What about this might be making them upset? T is for talk. You're going to want to use those open-ended questions to find out what's going on. You're going to gather more insight about their experience, what's happening for them, what their world is like, and just get a better idea of their overall picture of what's happening. My favorite one that I like is, can you tell me more? Or can you tell me more about what's concerning you right now? Or can you tell me more about what's upsetting you at the moment? This brings a bit more of a pragmatic but empathetic way of finding out more about what's happening and without being super specific about it. It allows them to go into detail about an area they would like to talk about with you right now. An example that I love for this one, and I always keep this in mind in customer interactions, let's say a customer says something like, the product isn't working for us. And if you jump to a conclusion or assume, you could think, oh gosh, they're gonna leave us. And then you jump to figuring that out. But instead, you could just ask more questions. What's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? Help flesh out exactly what's happening, because maybe there's something that's very fixable. Help understand what they're experiencing versus what they were expecting. And then H is for hear. You want to give them your full attention. You want to actively listen and listen without interrupting, and then summarize what their concerns are to make sure that you're understanding it. A good example of this is a colleague is venting. They're feeling overloaded, they're feeling overworked, they're feeling like they have too much on their plate. And instead of jumping to problem solving, which I know a lot of us can do, instead you could reflect back with, it sounds really frustrating. You're sounding like you're pretty overwhelmed and you're feeling like you're not able to, bring your work to the usual level that you would. Is that right? This way they're feeling heard by you. From there, once you make sure that they're feeling heard and understood, we move to identify. This way, we're going to find mutual goals and figure out what a good resolution could be for us. Think about, or even ask, what do we both want? And where do our goals align? Where's that Venn diagram where there's that area where our goals are going to connect with each other? A good example of this could be, maybe there's a sales rep and a customer success rep, and they're having difficulties with figuring out how they're going to do a renewal or an expansion. But at the end of the day, they are both looking to get expansion. They are both looking for the customer to have a good experience. So what do we need to do in order for that to be true and for us to move forward? Then we have N, negotiate. We figure out together a flexible solution that makes both people happy. Let's say your partner really wants to go on vacation at Christmas. They're super excited to do it. You feel like there's family stuff you have to do and it's so expensive to go at that time of the year. Instead of just saying no, you guys negotiate. We will have a couple days for ourselves during Christmas where it's just us. And then in January, when prices are cheaper, we'll go on a vacation together somewhere sunny and warm. And then K is to keep moving. You want to make sure that you're ending with clear next steps, what we're going to do from here on out, what have we decided on, who's doing what, and then just make sure that there's that accountability or ownership. So whether it's something like booking flights or booking days off work, or whether it's getting more information for a client or getting a new document together, we've agreed on what the next steps are, who's doing what, and we're going to move forward. We are all on the same page. Everything is black and white. And so we've moved from tension and escalation and both of us feeling emotional, and we've diffused that down to us knowing exactly what everyone is doing. We're on the same page. We understand each other. We've seen each other as humans. And that's what it comes down to. Something that's so important is to remember that this is just another human trying to do the best job that they can. So let's just try to figure this stuff out together. All right, let's move on to some reflections. I'd love for you to pause it now and write down your answers to each of these questions. I'll say them out loud, and of course they're on screen, so you can pause it and then write down each of these. And I highly suggest you actually do this step, because doing that reflection will help you learn more, will help you solidify this more in your mind and attach it to things that actually happen in your real life day to day. What phrases or techniques have you used in the past that have helped you de-escalate tense situations? What are some ways to really uncover the root cause of conflict? What's worked well in your past to approach these types of conversations? Is there prep that you've done? Are there certain phrases that you've done? Is there a setting? What is it that makes those conversations go a lot smoother? Take a few moments and pause right now. Awesome. All right, let's move on. Up next, we're going to look at putting it into practice. So how do we actually apply this in the real world? I'll summarize everything as well. So if you need a little cheat sheet video or a video to look at again after having gone through this entire playlist of items, this will be the video for you. I'm so glad you've joined me.